Robinson at fullback for the Bradford Bulls, the wing three-quarter line. D. Fogging Johnston, Jake Webster, Ross Oakes and Ethan Ryan, that homegrown left edge. The half-back partnership will be Rowan Milnes and Dane Chisholm. The front row forwards, Liam Kirk, Sam Hallis, John Magrin, Evan Hodson, Matt Garside, and binding the packs at loose forward, Mikey Wood. On the interchange bench for John Keir, it's Steve Crossley, Thomas Doyle, James Green, Matthew Staunton, Keelan Foster, Trey O'Sullivan, Eben Skerr, Josh Rickett, Elliot Cullen and Kobe Green. 15 homegrown players named by John Keir this afternoon. You tell me another club in British Rugby League that is producing this amount of homegrown players, Craig. And it will be the Bulls to get proceedings underway via the boot of Dane Chisholm, the referee dressed in green. It's Jack Smith, the ex-Royal Navy Marine, and he will be looking to enforce his discipline on the two sides as they get to grip with the new rules. And we will have the shot clock in operation this afternoon. And once again, it will be the Wolfpack who will field the restart in this transatlantic challenge. They will play left to right, and early doors the Wolfpack just going to move the ball over on that left hand edge, and it will be Bodine Thompson, and he'll be brought down 15 metres out from the halfway line. The Toronto Wolfpack lineup then this afternoon, it'll be Gareth O'Brien at fullback, the wing three-quarter line of Adam Higson, Chase Stanley, Ricky Latelli and Gary Wheeler, the half-back partnership of Joe Mellor and Josh McCrone. The forwards then, Ashton Sims, Andy Ackers, Tom Albison, Andrew Dixon and Bodine Thompson, and John Wilkin, the close season signing from St Helens. He will be at loose forward. And then on the interchange bench for Brian McDermott's side this afternoon, Adam Sidlow, Blake Wallace, Darcy Lusick, Gadwin Springer and Jake Emmett.
Mick, expect Toronto to come down this right edge. I think Dane, we all know the talent behind Dane, but most teams are going to come down and attack Dane on this side. I've just watched the first set. Great set by Toronto. Nice kick. Bradford need to get a nice stint in themselves. They're not making many yards in first three carries, so a big day for Ethan Ryan and D. Fogging Johnson. Dane's got in early there, he's gone on the fourth. So the yardage there, yardage for yardage, Toronto made a lot more, Mick, on that set.
Dane Chisholm's kick taken by Gary Wheeler on the far stand side, and Wheeler will be brought down on his own 30-metre line. Let us know in the comments across the multiple streams on Bulls Live, Bradford Bulls Facebook, the Toronto Wolfpack Facebook page, and also Proper Sport. Let us know this afternoon or this morning for our Canadian viewers where you're watching this game in the world. But here come the Wolfpack. They're looking to pounce early, and there's going to be a fantastic try-saving tackle in the corner, is there, by D. Fogging Johnson. But the Wolfpack are in, over out wide, and once again, we called it early doors. The potential to go set to set is there, but the Wolfpack showing great expansive awareness, Craig. They've gone on that left-hand edge, and it's Gary Wheeler just having too much on Johnston to get the tries opening.
It's the right edge there, Mickey. With the right edge, I thought they'd come this way. I think the back rower trying to work out one made a bad effort. It was a terrible effort, and he's just broke through. Gaz O'Brien's composed himself and hit the winger. D. Johnson did an unbelievable job there, trying to get him round and pull him up. But I think the refs give the try. That's a serious set. You could tell, Mick, within the first set, the intent. Toronto are shifting, Mick. If you watch, they're not going up in ones. They're shifting little plays, and they're trying to get Bradford on the edges. It could be a long day for Bradford if they don't get fronted up in this first 20 minutes.
Well, Gary Wheeler scored a try last weekend in Toronto's 24-14 defeat at Craven Park, and he's got his second try of the season, and that was certainly a nice finish over on that left-hand edge in that corner. And once again, it will be the boot of Gareth O'Brien. Just 1 from 3 last weekend in that 10-point defeat. Speaking to Brian McDermott on Tuesday at the RFL and Championship season launch, he was relatively pleased with what he saw from the Wolfpack last Sunday. They learned a lot about themselves, but he was quite honest in admitting that they have a bit of work to do in the middle, but offensively he thought the Wolfpack were pretty good. Gareth O'Brien's conversion attempt's gone to the left-hand side of the post, so on Bulls Live, Proper Sport, in partnership with Show Me the Money UK and partnerships, it is the Bradford Bulls 0, Toronto Wolfpack 4 after 4 minutes on the clock here at Odsal Stadium.
You know what, Mick? I'm just looking down there at the body language as well. Toronto look well up for this. Bradford lads need to get among this early. They're playing for places for next week. I know it's been a tough campaign with the Yorkshire Cup, but I'm telling you now, if they let this game go early, Mick, these will put a big score on Bradford here. Dane's just joining line there. They need a bit of get in the faces and make a game of this. Toronto, when they're on top, Mick, and they're playing, they will put big points on you.
Out of dummy half from Andy Ackers. Ackers once again utilising the forwards of Albison, Sims and Dixon. The Wolfpacker on the third tackle on the restart. It's Kirk and Magrin in defence for the Bulls. Also chasing back there is Evan Hodson, and it's going to be an early penalty here to the Toronto Wolfpack because John Wilkin has been held in the tackle, and the former St Helens stalwart winning a penalty, and that's going to put the Bulls under pressure. That was a penalty given away, although Ethan Ryan has stopped the ball going into touch. Brilliant awareness there from Ethan Ryan, who has 67 appearances and 69 tries. Yesterday, Bradford put out on social media it was 4 years to the day since he made his debut in a pre-season friendly for Jamie Peacock at Odsall when 12,000 spectators descended on Headingley. And once again, Ethan Ryan, one of the beaming lights of John Keir's homegrown heroes as the Bulls enter the Toronto half for the first time. Hallis in at dummy half to Chisholm to Webster on this left-hand edge, and Jake Webster brought down in a three-man tackle, and that will be the fifth and last as referee Jack Smith. Ryan in at dummy half to Chisholm looking to put a high hanging kick. They're going to let it bounce, the Wolfpack. It goes to Wilkin, but referee Jack Smith is going to give a penalty to the Wolfpack because he's going to say there was a push, and the Wolfpack not retreating, and it's going to be more pressure for the Wolfpack, John, here.
Well, I say Dane Chisholm, the great kick, hung it in the air. Dane needs to get control here, Mick. He needs to get a group. Dane offers loads in attack, and this is what you want him to do here. Compose Bradford, get a bit of patience. Couple of sets in, Mick, here. Patience. Don't go for the try after 2 sets. Right
Mills
now.
to
Take
Chisholm.
time.
Chisholm on that left edge. Draws in the defence. Latelli has caught Webster high, and Ricky Latelli gives away a penalty. So referee Jack Smith just going to point the mark 5 metres out from that Toronto try line. So it's another repeat set of 6 here for the Bulls as it goes to Hallis, to Chisholm to Magrin, the Jamaican international. He's certainly bolstered John Keir's forward pack options in 2019. They're 8 metres out away from the post. It goes to Chisholm, to Garside. Garside looks for the offload in the tackle, but he's rolled over on his back. That's the third tackle gone on this set of 6. 2 remaining here for the Bradford Bulls as Hallis once again. Good distribution to Chisholm. Chisholm to Kirk. Kirk get past Wilkin and Thompson, and he's brought down in a 2-man tackle underneath the post. It's going to go to Chisholm. Short delayed pass there, and that'll be tackle number 4 for the Bradford Bulls. They're literally 2 metres out from that Toronto line. It's going to be a cross-field kick for Ethan Ryan. Ethan Ryan takes the ball, but he's dropped it dead in goal. The chance has gone begging. It was Ethan Ryan against Adam Hickson, and Ethan Ryan has hurt himself down in the Toronto in goal area, challenging for that Jane Chisholm kick, and he looks to be in a lot of pain. Ethan Ryan there. Referee Jack Smith is going to ask for a controlled restart as Ethan Ryan receives attention from the Bradford Bulls medical staff, but Craig, I don't think we give the players enough plaudits. Tremendous bravery there from Ethan Ryan, putting your body on the line, challenging for that high crossfield ball.
Mick, I think he's had a bit of contact in there because knowing how good Ethan is at that, Ethan actually got up there, got the ball and then lost it. I think he's had a little nudge. He'll get up. He's a tough kid. I'm sure there's no problem. Mick, if you watch what Bradford did there, really patient set. The big weapon for Bradford, we all know, Mick, is Ethan Ryan in the air on this edge. This is what they'll test to all day. I think the Adam Hickson will be non-stop. He'll be non-stop under pressure every time Bulls get a set in the air. But great set for him. And by the way, good defence by Toronto as well.
Peter John Atherton says, thanks very much to Show Me the Money UK, the Bulls Live and Proper Sport for broadcasting the game. A grateful Toronto Wolfpack fan. Teresa Gard is watching from Toronto. We've also got people watching in Byron Bay, Australia, Perth, Australia. And Ian Stubley says, it's 9 a.m. in a freezing Toronto. I've seen all the pictures of the snow this week. Keep us up to date with your comments where you're watching and where you think Toronto and the Bulls are going to finish in the Betfred Championship. What are your expectations for the Wolfpack and the Bulls? Two of the competition favourites we're seeing here this afternoon. The Wolfpack inside the Bradford 30-metre line. It was that 7-tackle set. Is it going to go to McCrone? And McCrone looks for options, but he can't get past Kirk and Garside. And this will be now the last tackle. They're calling for the ball on that left-hand edge. Aston Sims, they go on the right. It's going to be the crossfield kick from Mellor. Mellor looking to put young Stevenson under pressure. Stevenson takes it in the field of play, and he is trapped in goal. It's a goal line dropout. A repeat set of 6 forced from Toronto Wolfpack, and that will be good early kick chase presser from the Wolfpack. 10 minutes gone.
What a great kick. I've always had a lot of raps on Joe Mellor. I thought it was a great kick, patient build-up. They've got the repeat set. This is what Bradford don't need. Toronto. By the way, all Toronto fans listening, we want you in Super League. We want you in our comp. A lot of people don't say that, but this is us commentating. We can't wait for you. You're the most exciting thing that's happened to our competition in a lot of years. So, big up on you all, and I hope you have a great year. Here we go, Mick.
Lorraine O'Brien watching from southwest France. I think we've got everybody in every corner of the globe. Rugby League's global appeal on show this afternoon from a bitterly cold Odsal Stadium. The supporters that have braved the elements and temperature, they're certainly seeing a highly competitive game. That's come off Jake Webster's right arm. Jack Smith gets the nod from the touch judge. Head and feed to the Wolfpack. It's a third consecutive set of 6 now that the Wolfpack are going to put the Bulls under pressure. And when we speak to John Keir, Craig, and we talk about that, he couldn't be more pleased after the preparations of those previous 5 pre-season games, certainly in that Yorkshire Cup, giving the players absolute confidence and they're ready for the get-go. This is taking that benchmark, that bar, to a whole new different level this afternoon.
Listen, this is a serious side here, Toronto. Ethan Ryan did a great read in defence there, Mick. If he don't make that read there, Toronto are in for a second. So again, serious time, serious part of the Toronto look really dangerous here. They're loading up right and then they're shifting left. They're shifting the play so quick, it's really good. Ackers with a dummy. Again, you can see it.
Andy Ackers out of dummy half there. Pass Stevenson, pass Hallis underneath the sticks. Toronto really taking the game to the Bulls.
Mate, and you could see that coming a mile off there. Andy Ackers is fantastic hooker, probably the best hooker outside of Super League. I know Andy at Warrington as a young man. Fantastic show and go. Bradford need to, as I said, this could be a serious day, a long day for Bradford. Toronto look absolutely up for it. They're shifting the play, they're looking for holes in the defence. They're really up to put a marker on this game. Bradford have come after 5-6 games friendlies, probably 1 or 2 too much. Mick, I think John Keir would take a lot of fit players finishing this game. But what you don't want before your first game next season is a toweling, innit? You do not want 40 or 50 toweling here and the confidence go down. John Keir's going to have to get behind this. I'm looking at Brian Mack here, and the way Toronto's body language is, it's totally confident. They've come here to do a job, Mick. Seriously.
Brian McDermott not giving much away there on the emotions, but deep down he'll be really pleased with this impressive start and strong showing from the Toronto Wolfpack early doors. So already we've seen Wheeler cross out wide, we've seen Ackers underneath the sticks, and Gareth O'Brien adds the extra 2 points. So on Bulls Live and Proper Sport in 2019, brought to you by Show Me the Money UK and partners, it is the Bradford Bulls 0, Toronto Wolfpack 10. 12 minutes gone on the clock, and let's not forget the Rugby League weekend calendar. A massive game tomorrow between Millom and Red Star Belgrade. Craig, the sport's expanding. Whether or not you want to like it or not, you've got to get on the expansion train.
100%, mate. Like I've just said, the Toronto to the welcome in our competition. We love them. You know, they're fantastic. I think David Argyle and the full team are down there. It's fantastic to see. And I tell you what, they're going to have some fun this year. Brian McDermott is our most celebrated coach in the history of the game. We talked about it on one of the shows last week, Mick. He's here to do a job. And Brian McDermott's not here to spend his life in Championship, Mick. He wants Toronto in the top league where he has been for the last 8 or 10 years, and he played for 13 years.
Interestingly, talking to Andrew Chalmers before the game, if you were going to put a points for and against on the Bradford Bulls, Toronto would start based on the salary cap spend of the both clubs. Andrew Chalmers, quite open and honest, says Toronto would be giving Bradford a 24-point start this afternoon on the
20,
coupon.
Mick, I had 20, I thought, but yeah, fantastic. Some unbelievable players here. Gaz O'Brien, I've known Gaz since he was 17-year-old at Warrington again. Fantastic. He's put together a really great squad, and there's 4 or 5 who were not playing. I spoke to Brian Noble on Monday, and they're looking to bring 1 or 2 young people in as well to bolster the squad, Mick. So as I say, Bradford need to get out of this. Every time Bradford get a set, Mick, they're not making it hard.
Just shy of 15 minutes gone on Bulls Live and Proper Sport. Bradford 0, Toronto 10. Toronto on the restart, clean set of 6. Here come the Bulls though. Jake Webster's brought down on his own 30-metre line as it now finally goes from Milnes. Milnes moves it on that right-hand edge. And Bradford 35 out from their own try line with a couple of tackles remaining on this set of 6. They're going to go back down the middle channel with Magrin. But Ashton Sims and Andy Ackers bring the Jamaican international down. And that is Bradford extinguishing their 5 sets of 6 as it goes to Milnes from Hallis out of dummy half, and it's going to bounce off the chest of O'Brien on his own 10-metre line, and O'Brien looks to meet the Bulls chasers head on, and Garside Hodgson also in there, and here we go. They're going to use the wingman, and it's going to be Adam Hickson who comes in on that right-hand edge, and Ashton Sims just leaving the field. And as we said, Craig, this is how tough it's going to be for the Bulls this afternoon. Darcy Lussick just coming on, the former Manly Sea Eagle, as once again Darcy Lussick looking to get involved as it goes towards Andrew Dixon, and Dixon, who's been a stalwart of the Toronto Wolfpack, followed them on their journey from League One to the Championship, will get to his feet, he'll play the ball, and no-look pass there from Mellor to O'Brien to Stanley. Chase Stanley gets the ball out loud to Hickson. Hickson brought down there by Webster just outside the Bradford 10. The Wolfpack are howling, they're hunting a third try on this set of 6. It's going to be Stanley out of dummy half to Macron to Mellor. Mellor out wide to Latelli. Latelli kicks ahead. Danger for Stevenson. Stevenson, cool, calm, composed, safety first, bats the ball dead. It's the second goal line dropout of the afternoon that the Wolfpack have forced the Bulls into. The shot clock is on, 30 seconds, and it remains Bradford 0, Toronto 10.
Mick Omni with the signs here. I'm telling you, they would have set that where they went right, went left, they went right. They finished off with a beautiful composed kick. Toronto, this is some... Mick, I've just realised myself, we commentated a lot last year. You're commentating this. What's the difference here straight away? The speed of the ruck. They're just walking 140, 30-metre sets down Bradford. Bradford need to really get up to this because these are impressive. This is impressive.
Dennis Scott, Teresa Gard, Section 35 Wolfpack supporters group, looking forward to hosting the Bradford Bulls in May when they arrive in the Den, or should I say Lamport Stadium. Richard Ward, Mick Hurley, Tyler Dickinson joining us this afternoon as Bradford concede the penalty in front of the post. Keith Harrell watching from Clayton in Bradford. So to Ethan Norfolk and Tom Sowerby. They're not going to go for 2. They're going to tap the ball as Darcy Lussick sucks in that Bulls defence before he gives it to Macron. To O'Brien, out wide in at the corner. And that is going to be Adam Hickson. Too much toe, too much space. It's an electrifying try there from the Wolfpack as Ryan Webster and Stevenson are beat. And it is Bradford Bulls 0, Toronto Wolfpack 14. The Wolfpack have crossed the Bradford line 3 times now in the opening 20 minutes at Odsall.
Mick, we've called it. I think I've called it from word go. It looks. I can see 40. I can't see anything else. They look really sluggish, Bradford, as well on that set. That's what worrying me. The body language. They've got the first game next week, and they need to get up. It's just absolutely down. They're getting out, played out, muscled out, enthused. Enthusiasm's free, Mick. These lads are playing for a place. If I were John Keir, I wouldn't be happy. And they can't blame all the games. They've got to take on board. This is to play next week. I'm telling you now, you're going to get a grip on this. Toronto put 40 to 50 on. No danger. I think every time they've got a set, they're either going to repeat set or they've scored a try, Mick. Totally impressed with Toronto. Wow.
Some of the comments, Nicky Edge Coxon, can't believe this Bulls performance so far. Kevin Wheelhouse says, not looking good for the Bulls. John Bailey says, come on Bradford. And Pauline White watching from Meanwood. And Sarah LeBon says, think we're doing well to be this far into the game and only 14 points down. And the Howling Hour Wolfpack podcast says, greetings, or should I say good morning from Canada. So, Wheeler, Ackers and Hickson, the free try scorers for the Wolfpack. O'Brien on this main stand side. cool, calm, composed, looking very meticulous, draws that imaginary line. This one's going to creep in, is it? Oh, we put the commentator's curse on him. Inches, just shaved the post, and it is now Bradford 0, Toronto 14. But the Bulls, Craig, just shy of 20 minutes gone on Bulls Live and Proper Sport in partnership with Show Me the Money UK and partners. They've got a bit of a mountain to do.
Gaz O'Brien outstanding again. He's coming round on the plays, Mick, and he's putting the play on. The half-backs are playing first receiver and squaring up, and they're trusting Gaz O'Brien to make that pass. Bradford have not looked inventive at all, just one up, getting to an early kick. It's the worst I've seen Bradford start a game, Mick, in the last 12 months, and I'm trying to be confident and see some confidence. I haven't seen anything yet at all.
Well, certainly one thing that Brian McDermott will be happy with the Toronto Wolfpack is the meters they are making coming out of yardage. They're getting over that advantage line. That's then generating that ascendancy and momentum. And here we go, 2 tackles into the restart. They're already feeling a little bit adventurous, a little bit lively. And they're themselves on that expansion train, going out over on the left-hand edge, testing the Bradford flanks. And 4th tackle gone here. Or should I say the last tackle, Toronto up and inside the Bradford half. Darcy Lusick plays the ball out of dummy half, and it'll go down to Josh McCrone, the former Canberra Raider and St George Illawarra man, and he's going to find Ethan Ryan. Ryan's going to return the ball, and let's not forget, Craig, the average age of the Bradford Bull side this afternoon, a little under 24 years, and those 15 homegrown players, many of whom on the bench. They're certainly not going to forget this game in a hurry. It's going to be a huge learning curve ahead of the Betfred Championship opening weekend next week. Ross Oakes is brought down. Try last week in the Yorkshire Cup final. Bradford defeated Batley 14 points to 12, and they're having to do the hard yards forward as Brian McDermott's Toronto Wolfpack certainly putting that defensive screeze on, and John Wilkin and Andrew Dixon certainly leading that charge. The black and grey and silver of the Wolfpack. Dane Chisholm forced to kick from deep inside his own half, straight down the throat there of O'Brien. O'Brien to Higson, and Higson on that left-hand edge, and the former Lee man's going to be brought down 10 metres out from the halfway line. 20 minutes gone, Craig. It's settled down now a little. We're going into that set-for-set action, but kid you not, this Toronto side, blink of an eye, the stroke of a match, that can be away.
Make the line speed of Bradford atrocious. Look, watch. You can see it. And by the way, let's not make excuses about the age. There's some real experience out there for Bradford as well, and they're not doing anything, Mick. The line speed's shocking. Seriously, they've got to get enthusiastic. They need somebody to do something. It might be here, young Fogging Johnson or Ethan Ryan. They need something.
Fogging Johnson taking the loose pass from McCrone. Is that the catalyst to get the Bradford Bulls up and running in this transatlantic challenge? 4th penalty of the afternoon going the way of the Bulls faithful. Jack Smith has got the Wolfpack inside the 10, and Jane Chisholm will find touch on the far stand side.
Mick, they need some inventive here. All I've seen Bradford do so far, it looks to me like they're just trying to get to the kick and complete the kick, and maybe use Ethan on the last play. We've not seen any shift play. We haven't seen it be offload. We've not seen no one really go at the line. The halfbacks are playing off it. The fullback's not joined in on anything. This is a big set for Bradford. They need something here, Mick. Either a repeat set or they need to make something happen. Don't think they've broke a line yet, Mick. They're absolutely getting dominated in collision. 22 minutes gone. This is only Bradford's second attacking set of 6 in the opening half, where they've had ball deep inside that Toronto 20-metre line, and the 5 metres out now from Magrin to Hallis to Chisholm to Garside buries the head, and he's brought down there by Adam Sidlow, the former Bradford man. Once again, 5 metres out, centre field, Milnes on that right-hand edge towards Hodson. Hodson's brought down. Tackle number 4 gone for John Keir's side. It'll be Oakes in at dummy half to Milnes. Milnes back down the middle channel, and that is the last tackle, says referee Jack Smith. Hallis, Magrin, Chisholm to Webster. Webster's going to chase the kick up, and Webster will score for the Bradford Bulls. And here we go, Craig. We've got some magic, and it's the Australian, the close season signing from the Castleford Tigers. The Bulls are back. 14 plays 4. Mick, I'm happy, but that was a shocking end to a set. They've actually didn't know what they were doing. The ball's ended up at Webster's feet. and he's tried a grubber, it's come off and he's got the try, but hey, they needed a break and they just got it. If that doesn't enthuse them. But again, I'm looking at the body language. Mick, have a look here. They're walking back. They look absolutely shattered. They've just got to try. They've got to get into this. They need some leaders. They need a bit of enthusiasm. It's not happening. But hey, they've got the try, and let's see if it changes anything.
Taking nothing away, Craig, from the previous 5 pre-season fixtures where Bradford have faced James Ford's, York, Richard Marshall's, Halifax, Dewsbury, and of course Bartley. But this clearly is a huge step up this afternoon, and we've seen it in the intensity, in the speed, even in the fitness of what Bradford are going to potentially face if they want to be in that top 5.
People listening, it's a simple game sometimes, rugby, Mick. If you slow down the play of the ball, so what Toronto are doing is slowing down Bradford's play of the ball. That's why the Bradford players getting frustrated. But hey, Mick, that's Super League. That's what they do. They slow the ruck down. What Bradford are not doing is slowing Toronto's ruck down. So that's, to us, it looks like Toronto are just marching on match. They're getting the quick plays of the ball. Bradford Bulls cannot create a quick play of the ball at the moment, and they're getting frustrated, Mick. They need to start fighting the play of the balls, and they need to get quicker plays of the balls. But hey, listen, they've had a stroke of luck, Mick. Let's see what happens. Another big set. Bradford need to get to the kick in a big set here.
Dane Chisholm converts the extra 2 points, 5 metres to the left-hand side of the post. And on Bulls Live and Proper Sport this afternoon from Odsal Stadium, brought to you by Show Me The Money UK and partners. Certainly the Bulls back in with a sniff. And Adam Scott says, come on you Bulls. Mike Barlow says, get up there, my boy. Yes, Webster. Ross Gledall says, game back on at Odsal. And Jackie Stanton says, that is a nice try from Jake Webster. So, 15 minutes to go to half time here. The Bulls looking to get back in this one. Mikey Wood brought down just shy of the halfway line. Always tenacious, carrying the ball in that right arm. Close season signing from the Giants. He was on loan for the full duration of last season when Bradford defeated Workington Town 27 points to 8 in the playoff grand final here at Odsal in front of a crowd of over 6,000, and certainly this game whetting the appetite for the Betfred Championship, which of course starts next weekend. And here we go, Toronto looking to catch those stray Bulls defenders who potentially got the back turn to the action. McCrone out of dummy half to Wilkin. Wilkin a short flat ball over on that left hand edge, and Evan Hodson and Liam Kirk are called into action. And referee Jack Smith says that's tackle number 4. Toronto 25 metres out from the Bradford line. It's going to be McCrone in at dummy half. It goes to Sidlow. Sidlow's going to front up against his former teammates, and he's brought down just outside the 10. The Wolfpack on this set of 6. They've gone nearly 70 metres. It's the last tackle play, an almighty gap, and Blake Wallace will go around and under, and just like that, the Wolfpack hit back. It's a 4th try for Toronto and Brian McDermott's side, and Blake Wallace found that far too easy, Craig. Defence non-existent for the Bulls, and it's Bradford 6, Toronto 18.
Don't know if we're watching this live, Mick, again, but the line speed of Bulls looks so slow there. They've given him all day. He didn't even throw a dummy there, Mick. It was a great piece. It was a great step, but he's actually done nothing. He's stepped off his foot and he's gone inside 2 defenders and round fullback. The line speed is appalling. It's got to be twice as good. They look really down. Said to you, Mick, if you score a try and you walk back to the halfway line and you've got your shoulders down and they just don't look enthusiastic. Don't know whether the crowd and it's a bit flat and they've just, you know, whether this will. I tell you what, we've just seen some here. Crosley and Green are coming on. Now these two are 2 starters, and these 2 need to come on and make a massive impression to change this game. Because as I say, at the moment, the squad that they've put out look really, really down. It probably needs a George Flanagan type as well. Staunton's on. One of the best young talents in the country at the moment's just come on. So let's see if this makes a difference. 3 brilliant changes for Bradford. So big on Toronto again, though. If you're having your breakfast there, you're enjoying them croissants and that poached egg. It's unbelievable stuff by your team.
Bulls Live, Proper Sport, brought to you by Show Me The Money UK. Player ambassador packages from £695. Follow the Twitter account at Show Me The Money UK _ partners. It is Bradford Bulls 6, Toronto Wolfpack 20, and the Wolfpack have come up with a bit of hesitation and a bit of an error there, and that now will put the Wolfpack under the defensive cosh. Just looking at the comments on the various Facebook streams, Craig, and a lot of Bulls fans asking the question, if this is a big result in favour of the Wolfpack, does this final pre-season fixture present John Keir with more questions than answers?
Listen, I think first and foremost, John takes no injuries. His second thing is the performance today. At the moment, it's not brilliant. Yeah, it sets a massive marker down for me. Bradford need to be having the ambition, Mick, to compete in that top 4. At the moment, they're looking far from it. There looks like a massive gap. So let's see that they've got 3 first-line players just come on. Staunton, Crossley and Green. They look, and actually they're shaping up here, Mick, to play. They're going to go left here, and then the numbers are right. I mean, Danes just took it down the wrong thing there, but the numbers are right. It's the first time I've seen any shape in any of Bradford plays. Let's see, the ball's so slow. Look how slow it is.
It's going to go from Chisholm to Hallis. Hallis once again, centre field, as Mikey Wood gets to his feet, plays the ball out to Milnes. Milnes to Stevenson. And Stevenson's brought down 5 metres out from the Toronto line. Rolled over on his back on the last tackle. Crossfield kick from Milnes. Ryan looking to take the ball. It's come back off Jake Webster's right arm. This will be a goal line dropout force from the Bulls, and that's a good solid end to that set of 6 for John Keir's side. It builds a little bit of momentum, and Rowan Milnes, Craig, one of yours, he certainly has the potential to force his way into John Keir's starting 17 in the championship this season.
What a composed kick, right on the bunny, but I want to see Rowan at the line as well. He's playing off the line. I want to see him and Dane taking it on. But great set, great. Everything about that set was good. Let's see what the momentum they can bring now. They look a bit better. This change, Mick, has had an effect. I can see it. Body language is everything in sport. Watch it. Crossley here, mature. Let's have a go.
Any questions for myself or Craig? Fire away. We'll do our best to go through them just after half time. But here we go. The Bulls with a little over 10 minutes remaining in this transatlantic challenge at Odsal. They trail by 14 points. Those 4 tries from Reeler, Ackers, Hickson and Wallace. And it's Chisholm who carries the Bulls inside the Toronto 20-metre line. Hallis goes the blind side towards Garside, and the former Sheffield and London man is brought down 5 metres out. 10 metres in from this main stand side. Hallis scoops the ball up in centre field to Chisholm. Chisholm, short little flick on pass to Mikey Wood, and Mikey Wood's wrapped up in a 2-man tackle. Last tackle here for the Bulls. It's going to go right once more to Milnes. Milnes' ball being intercepted. It come off the right arm of Stevenson, and that's a good tackle there by Fogging Johnson. Tackle not complete, says Jack Smith, and here come the Wolfpack as Hickson has the ball in centre field, and he's finally going to be brought down there by Steve Crossley and Webster and James Green in a 3-man tackle. Green and Webster last season with the Castleford Tigers, and now Toronto have lost the ball on the halfway line. They're appealing for a penalty on this right-hand edge, O'Brien and Stanley. The touch judge says it was a loose carry. Ashton Sims there just putting Andrew Dixon into a bit of a cuddle and saying, no worries, it'll be a scrum to the Bulls, but they'll have a full set of 6. Craig, a lot of people asking about Ryan Briley. If you missed the full 80 minutes on Thursday, you dispelled those rumours that he's going to Salford. He's just out with an injury, I believe, this afternoon.
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, whether it's an injury, whether he's been dropped, his future at Toronto. He wants to play for Toronto. He wants to make a difference. He didn't get into the team at the end of last year. Ryan's all ready for this year. Watching him, I can see. Listen, let's be honest. Toronto are not playing bad without Ryan, but Ryan's, for me, is X factor, and he'll certainly have a fantastic season this year. Loves it at Toronto, so please relax on that front. I can assure you, I've had Ryan for 3 or 4 years. A good friend of mine, rings me every week. He'll make a big impact this year. Just have a bit of patience.
Adam Gilmartin on the comments. If the Toronto Wolfpack start beating teams by 40 to 50 points week in, week out, how is broadcasting their games on Sky good for the game of rugby league? Will people get bored of seeing the Wolfpack run up big scores? An interesting point there, Craig.
No, it shouldn't happen. This is the worst I've seen Bradford play. Let me make that thing. I'm not saying Toronto are good, Mick, but this is nowhere near the standard Bradford have been playing. We've watched Bradford now for the last 5 or 6 weeks. They're actually starting to play a bit better now, but it's the way Toronto are controlling the ruck. It doesn't give any fast plays. This is the big play, Bradford again. Ethan Ryan on the wing.
Ethan Ryan takes the ball out to Webster. The Bulls have a second try. That was orchestrated. It was almost like a pantomime rehearsal. The crossfield kick to Ryan. Ryan beating Hickson and Stanley. Palms it back to Webster. And Jake Webster has his second try of the afternoon in the Transatlantic Challenge. Game back on at Odsal. 20 points to 10.
Mick, we said here, Ethan Ryan is the best exponent of the kick in the corner, and the way he gets up is the best exponent in both leagues, Mick. Not seen anybody climb like he does. He actually hang times. He causes so much. Adam Hickson must be having a nightmare, because every time they get into any field position, they'll put it on Ethan Ryan's head, and at the moment, he's getting way above them all. That's 2 tries they could have got, Mick, from 2 of them sets. So the 3 people have already had a big impression here, Mick. I'm telling you now, the 2 forwards have come on, quickening the play of the ball. So please, back to the question, Mick, about Toronto dominating. I'm not having that. I think that's a cheap way out. If Bradford are on song and the full squad and they're up for it, and at the moment we might be talking different in second half because I've seen a bit of a swing. Teams will compete with Toronto, 100%.
Matt Murdoch Gilbert says that's more like it from the Bulls, and Ben Aldham says better from the Bulls. David Johnson, it is Bradford 10, Toronto 20, and we have 5 minutes remaining on the clock in the first half. And Connor Clark says Castleford had the best out of Jake Webster. I wish him all the best at the Bulls. Dane Chisholm then, a crucial conversion attempt on this main stand side. The ball fully back 25 metres, the angle more akin to 50 as it goes from that right boot, but it's going to curl in. It's curling. It's there from Dane Chisholm, and on Bulls Live and Proper Sport in partnerships with Show Me the Money UK here at Odsal in this Transatlantic Challenge. We've seen 32 points scored in this first half, 12 to the Bulls, 20 to the Wolfpack, and the supporters below the commentary position, they can feel that stability and positivity around Odsal once again. That's what the Bulls need to do, right, Craig? Stick to the structure of the game plan.
100%, and as I say, they got back to the line quicker here. They all look up for it. Toronto have they've only brought 20 players fit here, Mick, so we might see a change in the second half. They're going to keep John Wilkins just come off for a breather. Bradford have got 6 or 7 on the bench to play. I can see a swing, and Steve Crossley and Green and Staunton have definitely made a big difference.
Well, we've seen more evidence there, that linking quality between Chisholm, Milnes, Ryan and Webster, that there is a lot of excitement to be had here at Odsal Stadium and in the Betfred Championship in 2019. And already the Bulls purring one feels as Doyle now goes in at dummy half, and this is all down to the interchange, the reduction of interchanges. Hallis now will go in that second row forward, utility role. Doyle, the Bradford Academy prospect, is out there, and James Green will play the ball on tackle number 4. Here goes Hallis, his second carry in this set of 6. Carries Bradford 5 metres inside the Toronto half on the last tackle. It's going to go to Chisholm. Chisholm looking to put O'Brien under pressure. O'Brien takes it from the clouds, 20 metres out. And oh boy, what a bell ringer that was from Jake Webster. He waited for O'Brien's feet to touch the ground, and then he went bang.
That's the first heavy contact Bradford have made in a tackle, actually, Mick, so actually might liven things up here, not a bad tackle. Again, I wouldn't go towards Gaz O'Brien. I'd try and put it on the wingers. I think Gaz is all day, probably some of the best stands for a full-back I've seen, so I'd be keeping it well away from Gaz on that one. I'd be putting it on the winger's head and out to the channels if I could. But again, Bradford look a little bit sparkier. They don't need a penalty here, Mick, and that's what Toronto are trying to drag out of them, a quick play to get a penalty. They don't need to give one here and get back a position. Field position's everything here because they're getting back in the game.
Latelli's quick play the ball on the 4th. Ashton Sims plays the ball 10 metres inside the Bradford half on the last. Out of dummy half, back to O'Brien. O'Brien strikes, takes aim, but Stevenson safe as houses after a shaky opening here when Toronto led 14 points to 0 after 16 minutes. Since then, the Bulls have gone set for set with the Wolfpack, and this one has a real high quality, high intense feel to it as Ethan Ryan just gets up a little bit jaded and groggy, and that will see Defogging Johnston coming on this left-hand edge. Doyle in there wearing 17 at dummy half, and it's going to go back down that right-hand edge as Ross Oakes will carry the Bulls 8 metres out from half way, and we've got 2.5 minutes remaining on the clock as the captain for the Bulls, Steve Crossley, is brought down in a 2-man tackle. Sidlow in there. Don't forget Steve Crossley once upon a time played for the Toronto Wolfpack. The Wolfpack offside there. Referee Jack Smiths give the penalty. That's a very unfortunate penalty for the Wolfpack to give away there. It did take an almighty deflection off Josh McCrone, and the Toronto second row forward there, Tom Olbison, the former Bradford man, Craig, just ever so slightly in front.
Yeah, but a shocking set by Bradford. They've made about 25 metres and they've got away with murder again.
And I think I've got to stop calling you John Bastian.
Yeah, that'd help. And there's definitely a height difference, and I think I talk a bit faster as well. So, big set for Bradford here.
Huge set of 6. 90 seconds on the clock before half-time. James Green, the giant of the Bulls, 6'4", carries them a couple of metres shy of the line. And we're about to see a third try in what has almost been a procession for the Wolfpack, but there's been a lot of effort from the Bulls. It's been gutsy and spirited, and for their efforts, the Bulls, they're only trailing by 8. Doyle to Mills. There's an overlap on the right-hand edge. Mills, perhaps wrong option. It comes back off Staunton, and the Bulls have lost the ball in great field position there. That won't please John Keir. Chance gone begging. Bulls Live proper sport. It remains Bradford 12. Abrasa tries to Webster. Toronto 20. Wheeler, Ackers, Higson and Wallace.
Listen, Rowan Mills got tangled up there. Didn't know what to do. He's playing too square for me. Rowan needs to come onto it and play at the line. At the moment, he's just shifting from side to side. He's not getting no runners going inside him, Mick. So he's a young lad. He needs a bit of guidance on that. But for me, first thing he does is get it. He sinks into the line and he can play off that. We've not seen Bradford put a move on yet with the fullback, Mick. I don't know whether that's bad game. I don't know what the game plan is, but the fullback's not swung into one play. It just seems real basic rugby. Try not to be too negative here because they're still in the game. They're still well in the game on the point system. But what we're watching, Mick, is a total dominance by Toronto.
20 seconds remaining in this first half. Aston Sims offloads the ball back to Sidlow. Sidlow's going to be brought down in a 3-man tackle just shy of the halfway line. This will be the final play of the first half from the Wolfpack, and it goes once again out to McCrone on that left-hand edge to Latelli. Latelli's brought down. Half-time here at Odsal Stadium on Bulls Live and Proper Sport. It's good to be back. Live streamed rugby league, live and free, and it is the Bradford Bulls 12. Toronto Wolfpack 20. Craig, your first half thoughts? It's almost been like a game of two halves. The first 20, all the Wolfpack, the Bulls waking up for the final 20. John Keir will be perhaps a little bit pleased, and he could take a bit of that spirit in. That's Kieran, who's monitoring all your comments on social media this afternoon. The two teams are out. 40 minutes remaining in this transatlantic challenge between the Bradford Bulls and the Toronto Wolfpack. This is what we call a starter before the main course, which of course starts next weekend. It is the Betfred Championship. It's round 1. You've got Widnes against Halifax, York against Toronto, and one of the big games of the weekend, Bradford and Featherstone here at Odsal Stadium. So we're back underway. Craig, what do you think the two coaches have said? You said as the players went down the tunnel, John Keir would be relatively the happier of the two.
Only on the scoreboard, Mick, not happy performance-wise, and I think he's... Oh, God, they didn't want that. Sam stuck his eye off the ball. There's a knock-on the second set. Wow, that is the worst possible start, because every time Toronto have got field position, for you listening, that means that set of 6 in this kind of position, they've put some scores or they've got a repeat set. So, dangerous times for Bradford. They really needed a good start. Momentum, Mick, changes quick. If Bradford can defend this set, and they actually do well, it can give you confidence. What they don't want is concede a try early in this set. As I said, I'm still on the 40 score unless things change.
Gadwin Springer out at the start of this second half. The former Castleford man looking to make a transatlantic impact with the Canadians, the Wolfpack. Good movement there from the ex-witness Mellor. That will land into the arms of Latelli, and Latelli's going to be brought down just inside the Bradford 20. As a flat pass there, we'll see Springer wrapped up on tackle number 3. In at dummy half is Ackers. He goes on along the line towards Mellor. It's picked up by Oakes. Ross Oakes has stolen the ball. Oakes doesn't fancy backing himself, and he'll be brought down there by Mellor and Ackers, but the danger's not over for the Wolfpack as D. Fogging Johnson carries them up inside enemy territory. Here we go, the Bulls. They've made amends for that early error at the start of the second half. Doyle out of dummy half to Green. Green's brought down on the third tackle. 40 metres away from the Toronto line as it goes towards Chisholm and Garside on that left edge. Bradford looking to exploit any holes. Webster now back in centre field to Chisholm. Chisholm to Hallis. And Hallis, who's brought down there in a two-man tackle on the last, is rolled over 28 away from the prize. Chisholm gets the nod from Ryan. Ryan probing on that left-hand edge. Ryan collision for the ball, but a great takeover on that far-stand side there by Higson, and he'll get to his, so to Gavin O'Brien, and O'Brien will get up and play the ball, but Bradford a much more composed, structured set there, Craig.
Brilliant set, a lot more enthusiasm, Mick, but again, keep the ball away from Gaz O'Brien. Gaz O'Brien is the safest man there. He's made a 20-yard run there and caught the ball. The wingers are unsure, Mick. I wonder if Brian Mack said to him, Gaz O'Brien, make sure you get over there because he's fantastic in the air, but no. Keep it away from the wingers. Better set, but an high tackle there on Sims. So, again, a bit of field position for Toronto.
Not only have we got players, former players, coaching staff joining the Bulls Live and Proper Sport feed this afternoon, we've also got referees from the RFL. Good afternoon to Michael Smale, who's joining us, and certainly all the best to the match officials ahead of what promises to be a fantastic new season. The RFL's hashtag enjoy the game, and oh boy, me and Craig are enjoying this one as Matty Staunton has come up with the ball after Toronto have come up with their third error inside the Bulls half, and that won't be pleasing Brian McDermott, who's just on the radio to our right below the dugout. So Bradford got ball back in hand. Doyle in at dummy half. Back down the middle to Green. Green makes a 6 or 7 metres on the impact. Gets the quick play of the ball in. Bradford have movement and room. Milnes, fleet of foot, sucks in that Wolfpack defence, and he's brought down 30 away in centre field. Here goes Doyle through the gap. Tom Doyle's away. Doyle's inside the 20. He's brought down on the 10. Ashton Sims had to come in with a last grasp tackle, and the youngsters, those homegrown heroes for the Bulls. Milnes, here's another one looking for Foggy Johnson. Johnson's been taken out by Latelli, and it's a penalty to the Bulls. 6-3 the penalty count in favour of John Keir's side, and the touch judge and referee Jack Smith, they saw that one. Latelli just getting in front of Fogging Johnson, and it's a repeat set of 6 for the Bradford Bulls, who trailed 20 points to 12 in this transatlantic challenge. We've had 4.5 minutes gone at the start of this second half, and Bradford really putting the Wolfpack under the cosh, and this will test their defensive resilience as it goes to Doyle. Doyle to Green. Green from a standing start, caught in the whirlwind, still going towards the line, and he's brought down 2 metres out. O'Brien coming in as that third marker defender. Doyle to Pinchwood from dummy half, held up over his back on the line, and Bodine Thompson there literally stopping that right ball carrying arm from hitting the turf, and Doyle, ball in hand, will go back to the 10. So good conservative pressure here at the start of the second half that the Bulls are applying on the Wolfpack. Can they get their third try of the afternoon? Chisholm's gone with the ball, and he's backtracked, and he's brought down there by Tom Olbison, a former Bradford man, and he will be brought down just outside the Wolfpack 20. Last tackle now for Brian McDermott's side. Doyle is looking to find Milnes on the right. Goes to the left to Chisholm. Chisholm, grubber kick, taken by O'Brien. And O'Brien pushed back towards his own goal area by Webster and Garside. But he'll halt the brakes. And Toronto now will attack the Bulls from deep. 35 minutes to go, Craig. A much solid opening for the Bulls.
Make great contact there by Sam Alice. He's nearly took somebody's head off there. They're going to be a bit more aggressive as Bradford, and it's starting to happen. Toronto come with a couple of mistakes, which has allowed Bradford the field position, but the line speed's better. There's a bit. They're playing a pre-season friendly, but it doesn't have to be soft. It can be aggressive, and that's what they need to do. They need to fire it up. James Green's come on and probably been my man at match for Bradford. Again, Toronto, but look at this, Mick. They're kicking from far. The Bradford are in the descendants here. They need to keep it going here. Ethan Ryan's come off, by the way. I think this young lad stuck his place.
Josh Ricketts on for Ethan Ryan. So John Keir keen to make sure no niggling injury, and that all his players who are potentially in the shop window for that start next week have played enough minutes. Matty Staunton's done over 300 minutes in the pre-season games, by the way, and Matty Staunton certainly one of those rare finds, and he'll be looking for a huge impact in 2019. Remember the name, Matty Staunton, as it goes from Doyle to Garside. Garside, the 211s meet there as Andrew Dixon races back into that Wolfpack defensive line. And Bradford now, they're going to go down the middle with Crossley. Here goes Steve Crossley making 10 metres forward. Fifth and last tackle here for the Bulls. Doyle looks once again towards Milnes, goes to Chisholm. Chisholm's going to kick into space, plays the percentages, game management, scrum head and feed to the Toronto Wolfpack as Hallis comes off, and Keelan Foster, another one of these 15 homegrown Bradford-born players in this starting lineup this afternoon, comes on. And I tell you something, Craig, 20 points to 12. It's not the hammering many were predicting after 20 minutes.
Yeah, Toronto, look, I thought we had a little feeling in the second half. Toronto, I think, with the exchange, I think Bradford are using double the exchange as a Toronto, but I say they brought Wilkin off. I don't know whether they got an injury, but they definitely changed a little bit, and they're coming up with some errors, which is fantastic for Bradford. So, big 20 minutes ahead of us, I think. I want to see Matty Staunton, by the way. Mick, go and get some more work. Matty's there, and we're not using him enough. Bring it to this side. See Rowan take the line on, and a bit more. Bradford need to lift it, and they're starting to do it, and it's making it a better game. But again, clean break.
Andy Ackers, inside support. The Wolfpack going in underneath the sticks. A valiant chase back from Josh Rickett on that right-hand edge, but it is a try to Joe Mellor, and the former witnessman will touch down to the left-hand side of the post, and that is the Toronto Wolfpack. Blink and you miss it. They've got an eye for the catchy tries, and that is why they are hot promotion favourites to get into Super League from the Championship in 2019. It's Bulls Live Proper Sport, and it's Bradford 12, Toronto 24. The Wolfpack strike first early in the second half.
Bit of quality, Mick. As I say, I think Acker's got to be the best hooker in the competition. He's been very unlucky not to. He's had a little go at London in the Championship Super League, but he's a fantastic talent. Anything round that middle, and if you're lazy, he'll take it. He'll take it every time. And again, Gaz O'Brien, wow. He has to be the number one player this year in this competition, Mick. I think he'd be my any bet for a player of the year in the Championship. This kid is the best. He's pound for pound the best player. How they got him out of Salford, Mick, I don't know. Fantastic coach by Brian Noble and his people. But this kid is a genuine, honest, top Super League player, is Gaz O'Brien. And I watched him play 6 at Warrington at 17-year-old, Mick. He was an half-back. He lacked about a yard of toe. Everyone said to be a top half-back. Wow, he's a top full-back, never mind half-back.
Andrew Oldfield says, nice try, Joe. And Steve Smith says, Matty Staunton is going to be a massive player in the game. Reminds me of a young Stuart Fielden. And Carl Walker says, the Bradford Bulls Academy lads are impressing so far. And Dave Stewart says, good solid start from the Bulls, just a little bit disappointed that they've switched off and allowed Ackers far too much room and space. So on Bulls Live and Proper Sport in association with Show Me the Money partners, it is Bradford 12, Toronto Wolfpack 26. And we're in the 50th minute here of the Transatlantic Challenge. And that's going to be Springer who's going to be brought down. Howling Hour, the Toronto Wolfpack podcast, saying lazy marking, poor line speed, cost the Bulls that try. Acker's too quick, too intelligent, and agrees with Craig. He will punish a lot of championship sides this year's with those runs.
So there's two players out here who I think make a difference for Bradford. One is the bear busting, because you're not going to know cheap yards of Bradford, and he averages 12 metres a carry. And then I know I shouldn't put pressure on young people. They're in again here.
Toronto exploiting Bradford's wing, kicking, and it's a try to Gareth O'Brien. That one will be on the highlights reel, exposing Bradford's fragile right edge defence. Josh Rickett and Ross Oakes. Jake Webster on that far stand side. He's standing his ground. He's going to say there was a footing touch, but the touch judge was on top and in line, and the try will count. Chisholm saying that there was a foot on touch, but the try has been awarded, and it is 30 points to 12. And the Wolfpack, Craig, they've gone back to back. A stranglehold on this transatlantic challenge.
Funny game, mate, but we called it after 6-7 minutes. It's exactly what we thought. They're so dangerous, honestly. They're so assured. And again, that man, Gaz O'Brien, I think Gaz were actually in front of the kicker there. That's what I'd be picking up on, Mick. Don't know what Dane's making at. You know, it were bad defence on that right edge, but they're getting punished for any small mistake, any lack of, bit of laziness. Mick's punished at this level. This is the difference. With a top team against another team, it's when they exploit the weaknesses. Bradford getting harsh lessons today, harsh lessons. And if you look the way Bradford are playing, Mick, JK has got some. This is where you're at. This is the marker. Today's the marker. If Bradford have got any chance of being in that top thing, Mick, this is the marker. Because otherwise, I think there's a lot of teams will compete with Toronto. Earlier on, somebody made a comment. I don't agree with it at all. I think some teams, Toronto are going to come on the road. They're going to go to Batley. They're going to some places that are real tough gigs for them. Real tough. They'll have a dig at them, as they did last year. But again, this is Bradford. Bradford need to look at themselves today. And I think they're missing a bit of aggression, Mick. A bit of go. George Flanagan. George, it caused a riot in a monastery, wouldn't it? They need a bit of fire. There's no fire in the belly. I think 2 tackles all game. I've seen James Green and Sam Alice. Only 2 tackles I've seen where it's actually kitchen sinks gone in.
George Flanagan suspended for a crusher tackle against Dewsbury this afternoon, and he was in the bin twice last weekend in the Yorkshire Cup final. And here on Bulls Live and Proper Sport this afternoon, Mick Gledell and Craig Harrison, also known as the game caller and Show Me the Money, your call team, Bradford 12, Toronto 32, so a 6th try and a second at the start of this second half from the Wolfpack.
Brilliant.
And now Matty Staunton and Ross Oakes, they've put the squeeze, and the ball has just squeezed out of the grasp there, and a chance now coming up for the Bradford Bulls, and we're going to see Trey O'Sullivan, who's signed a part-time deal at the Bradford Bulls after impressing in the pre-season friendly against Halifax, and a chance now for the Bradford Bulls. And a very good comment coming in here, Craig, from Teresa Gard, who says anyone who thinks Toronto are going to have a blowout scorelines like the club did in League One isn't giving enough credit to the championship sides. We're going to have serious competition this season, and we're really looking forward to it in Toronto. So, the Bulls going to be brought down just to the left of centre field. Goes back to Chisholm. Chisholm to Foster and Bradford. The chance gone begging. First error from the Bulls. Scrum head and feet to Toronto Wolfpack. So, approaching the hour mark here at Odsal Stadium. Bradford 12, Toronto 32. Steve Crossley leaves the field. He's got enough minutes in the bag. He made his return to action following the shoulder reconstruction last week in that famous 14-12 win over the Batley Bulldogs in the Yorkshire Cup final. And he now will play no further part. He'll be getting ready for the rough and tumble of the season opener against Featherstone next week. But I tell you something, Craig, James Ford's in attendance this afternoon. This Toronto performance is going to give Fordy a lot of food for thought.
Seriously, I tell you, a real ruthless display. And again, the way they control the Bradford ruck and slow it down, yet manage to get quick plays of the balls themselves is fantastic. And Brian Matt likes to play rugby. Look at this again. They've got numbers again, Mick. He hasn't took it, luckily. I think Dane's come up there, but they're playing rugby, Mick. They're not doing one-up. Bradford look really basic on the game plan. Whereas Toronto, again, here, they're just making quick plays and going through and through, and they all know what they're doing. Gaz O'Brien's playing massive part of what they're doing, but they look so dangerous. But repeats it, no, it's gone out on the full.
Just a little bit too much there from Andy Acker. Stevenson happy to let that one traverse over the dead ball line, so it'll be a 7-tackle set from the Bradford Bulls. Alan Taylor, just going back to the New York theme, says if rugby union can run a competition in multiple countries, why on earth can rugby league not make it work? Stop hiding in the north of England. It's time for this sport to spread its rings. I think we've got another expansion special coming up on the full 80, Craig. It's a very pertinent, salient point at the minute amongst rugby league supporters. Where does the sport's future currently lie? The Super League had their launch Thursday with new beginnings. The RFL's Tuesday. Enjoy the game. 2019 really does feel a pivotal moment, a tipping edge in the sport. Bradford via James Green get the quick play of the ball in on that left hand side as Matt Garside drops the shoulder, looks for support, fires it out wide, but it's just been knocked on there by Elliot Cullen. A bit of miscommunication once again from the Bulls. So Jake Webster heads down the tunnel below our commentary position. He's done enough minutes for the pre-season of 2019, which, as we said, this is Bradford's 6th pre-season game. It has been very hectic, and John Keir certainly pulls no punches when he says if he didn't realise the success of the Yorkshire Cup, he certainly wouldn't have had the Boxing Day game against York here and also that pre-season fixture against Huddersfield. So, just shy of an hour gone. It was 20 points to 12 at half-time, Craig. We've seen 2 quick tries back-to-back from the Wolfpack, Miller and then O'Brien. Scoreboard a fair reflection of the efforts of the two teams?
Exactly. That scoreboard never lies. Mickey's got it right this time. But I've got a feeling, here's one for you. I'll try and throw something out there. John Keir's probably going to be the happiest coach when he goes away, Mick, because he's got so much to work on. He can use this as a marker. He knows this is a friendly. He knows he's tried some young kids. He knows he's trying the full squad. What he can do, Mick, is he can use this as a coaching marker now going forward and saying, here, listen, that's what you've got to beat. Whereas Brian McDermott's having a little look, he's probably unaware of how big Bradford squad is. But again, I have a feeling JK, and I've just watched something down there, he's probably thinking, listen, let's get this game over with, let's have a look. But he can use this all year. Look at what the marker is. Toronto with the marker. Yet we only got beat by this and we only got this. I have a feeling as a coach, John Keir might get more out of this game. And sometimes, Mick, I know the lads better than anybody. Look, Matty Staunton again. They need a little bit of a roast sometimes, Mick. They need something to go on. And he'll have enough here to go on. Young lad called Eben Skur coming on here. He can carry a ball, by the way. Get ready.
Eben Skur comes on for James Green. Skur's wearing 21, and now we're seeing a lot more of the young, promising Bradford Bulls Academy players out there on the field for the final 20 minutes. And Matt Murdoch-Gilbert says, with 10 players out and playing youngsters, Toronto should have been way further in front from me. With a full team out, I'm not really worried about Toronto, but the Bulls will certainly learn a lot from this. Agree a lot there, Matt, as Bradford enter the Toronto 20-metre line. It is on the last tackle. Stevenson in at dummy half, looks to find Milnes. Milnes is going to kick towards Fogging Johnson, but once again, it's a great take there by that right edge defence of Gary Wheeler. Referee Jack Smith's going to stop the clock because Gary Wheeler's just gone down on his shoulder in a two-man tackle by Milnes and Stevenson. When you look at both sides' challenges ahead, there's a lot of expectation on both Bradford and Toronto in 2019, Craig, especially Bradford's unbeaten pre-season to date against championship clubs. It's looking like that is potentially going to end this afternoon as Gary Wheeler just gets a bit of attention from the Toronto Wolfpack medical team. But there's a lot of pressure equally on Toronto. As we said, you reckon there's about 1.5 million being spent on this Toronto squad by David Argyle.
That's just on the pitch.
That's just on the pitch this afternoon, the full cap. So there's a lot of pressure on Brian Noble and Brian McDermott to deliver and get the Wolfpack into Super League, because there's no Super 8s in 2019. It's literally a top 5 playoff. The winner goes to the grand final. Whoever wins that grand final is in Super League in 2020.
Listen, pressure comes with what their ambition is. Ambition for Toronto is Super League. Ambition for rugby league, you know, I look at this, Mick. London got up last year and they had a fantastic season. They beat Toronto on the day. On a one-off game, they did it. I wanted London to come in there and spend a bit more on cap and come and have a right go at it, Mick. Toronto, one thing you've got to give them, Mick, if they go Super League, Mick, they'll throw the kitchen sink in. You will see marquee players. You'll see the £1.8 million take, and with marquee players on top. Now, the only other club doing that is Warrington and Leeds, the only two clubs in Super League doing that at the moment. We need that type of investment in this game. And the last caller's got it right, who's put a tweet in saying, stop hiding. What a great word that is. We do hide in the north. You're right. Good shout.
Toronto awarded their 4th penalty of the afternoon. Austin Hudson says the championship is going to be a tough season for sure, based on the live stream on Bulls Live and Proper Sport this afternoon. And the Wolfpack with Ackers to Sidlow. That one's gone forward. So a bit of miscommunication, a bit of lack of composure in the Toronto offence.
Yeah, it would have forwards past that, Mick. It would have forwards past. But again, as I say, there's some positives here. Defogging Johnson, every time he gets it, it's getting yarded, he's landing on his front. John Keir's looking at this Bradford performance and thinking, okay, I like what Staunton's done there. I like what James Green. He will have the ones who are playing for next week, Mick. Toronto will probably play with his starting lineup unless Braley, like say, all the fans and me myself personally want to see Ryan. And I'm so, if Ryan's playing today, he's got a bag full today, Mick. Every time they make a break, Ryan Braley's the best support player in the country. Danny Maguire was the best. For me, Ryan Braley is the best. So when you get dominant in a dominant pack with Braley, you've got problems. So again, this is probably Toronto's team for next week. Bradford are probably going to make 8 or 9 changes, Mick. Do you agree?
I totally agree. Foster carries the ball in on the 3rd tackle. Once again, the Toronto defence really effective as Ackers, Dixon and Sidlow are out there in that defensive line. Darcy Lussick, the former Manly Sea Eagle man, a lot of NRL experience. And that's Bradford on the last tackle. Once again, Doyle in at dummy half, looks towards Milnes. Milnes from centre field. That's going straight down the throat of Gareth O'Brien. O'Brien takes it, and here goes Chizzy. Chizzy wraps him up like a late Christmas present, and he's dumped to the turf, and that ignites the crowd. And Toby Griffiths says, as a sport, rugby league may not seem in a good place, but we're in a really good position. We have all the assets to go and be whatever we want to be, and as big as we want to be. We just need to go and do it. Waiting, it's just going to happen, will always end where it always has. Totally agree, Craig. Sometimes you do have to make the decisions. Unfortunately, the sport is more fractured than it's ever been. Although Ralph does say he meets Robert Elston at least once a week, so they're all on the same page as Toronto on the power play. A bit of Harlem Globetrotters-esque style of play as the kick comes in from O'Brien straight down the throat of Johnson, and Fogging Johnston's going to get to his feet and play the ball on the Bradford 40-metre line. So Bulls Live, Proper Sport, brought to you by Show Me the Money UK and partners, as Doyle goes to Skur. 10 metres, fantastic carry there from Skur. Ackers and Springer bring him down, and here goes the young Bulls again as Doyle scurries out a dummy half. Stevenson, back to Skur, fearless in his approach. Last tackle for the Bulls. The trail by 20, 32 points to 12. Milnes kicks straight towards Joe Mellor, and Mellor will take that one, and referee Jack Smith will stop the clock. There's a Toronto man down in back play, and that will give us an opportunity, Craig, to take a little bit of a breather. But just for some of the Toronto supporters watching the Bulls Live Proper Sport stream, Craig, it's going to be at least 20 years. Brian Noble said it on the full 80 minutes a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be at least 20 years before Toronto start seeing homegrown players in their side. It's took 20 years for London, but just explain to our viewers on the stream, Craig, watching in Toronto this morning, what these 15 homegrown players for the Bradford Bulls. When you're bringing home 15 homegrown players, you're not having to spend 1.5 million on the cap.
No, what it means is probably Leeds have been the best exponent to these. Leeds Rhinos have been. So when you bring players through, mate, you get players who might be on £10,000-12,000 full-time professionals. And then they make the first team debut, and it can be as low as 20,000-25,000, which allows the top end of the cap to be spent, and you can bring in these star players. If you're homegrown, you still, I as an agent want the homegrown players rewarded, Mick, as high as they could. And that's what happens. But if you get things, one, it's better for the fans. One, it's better for the community. Two, it's certainly better than paying over the odds for somebody who's an overseas players who might come here for what we call a payday, mate. They come here for a couple of years, legs have gone, and they go back. For me, the game is all about that. Bradford lost 6 or 7 of the best young players when they went bankrupt last time in the country. One of them being the best young player in the country, Jake Truman, who won the Young Player of the Year. The guy who was saying could be revered as the best half-back we've had for many years. They lost many more. Cameron Scott, the England under-18 captain. What Bradford are doing with young men is absolutely unbelievable. And I hope one day we do get to see Toronto bring, because one thing about it, if they ever stop playing American football, Mick, and the other sports, basketball, and they go into rugby league, Toronto will have some of the best athletes we've ever seen in the game.
Great tech from Stevenson there on the last tackle. Under a lot of pressure there. Gadwin Springer, so too Joe Mellor looking to get involved. And Howley now agree with Craig. It may take 20 years, but the RFL, they will back the Canadian homegrown players to be in the squad. And again, there's a bit of a class divide on some of the comments. A lot of people saying they want New York in, they want Toronto. A lot of the traditionalists, it's the traditionalists against the expansionists. Almost like a civil war. As Stevenson's just had the ball stolen. Referee Jack Smith's going to say head and feet to the Bulls here, Craig.
I think it was a bad carry. I don't agree with that. I think Toronto have been unlucky there. I think it was a loose carry and got it tapped out of his hand. Again, there's been a bit of a lull here, Mick. I don't know whether they're just changing and they're thinking, right, the coaches have said just get through to next week now. It's a big... By the way, Mick, this is not about today. This is about next week. It's about preparation. I'm sure both coaches are thinking, just get through this now. Make sure we get a lot of fit players off this pitch. But I can tell now the contact, the aggression, it's all gone a little bit quiet. It looks like saying, let's get the last quarter of an hour. One thing I'd like to see, Mick, and in this last 15 minutes from Bradford, let's see it put a play on. I don't think they've put a play on all day, Mick. Not seeing anything at all be put on. Here we go. And it just looks real basic stuff. And you're not going to win anything with basic stuff. You're not. You might have done last year, Mick, and you can play that way because you've got the best players in the competition and you spent the most cap last year, Mick. You won't do it this year.
Kobe Green replaces Dane Chisholm. So, two of the stars of Bradford's future out there controlling the pack. Rowan Milnes and Kobe Green. And here's Kobe Green, a flick on pass to Stevenson. So John Keir has seen enough. His first team players, they've got enough minutes in the tank. And you're now looking at a Bradford Bulls under 19s academy side out there as it'll go from Hodson to Skur. Skur's going to be brought down on the last tackle just inside the Toronto Wolfpack 20-metre line. And it's going to be Milnes looking to put O'Brien under pressure. Cullen on that left-hand edge puts O'Brien down, a metre out from his own try line. And here come the Wolfpack. They might perhaps sense blood because we've got 14 minutes remaining in this one as Chase Stanley makes 20 metres on that left-hand edge. And here we go. The Wolfpack trying to come down this middle channel with Eben Skur and Kobe Green in defence, putting the bodies on the line. It's a quick play of the ball. Acker's out of dummy half. It goes to Sidlow. Sidlow up to halfway for the Wolfpack. The Bulls hunting in 2s and 3s. And the Wolfpack in centre field going to get their 5th penalty of the afternoon because Eben Skur just laying on in the tackle and referee Jack Smith loses patience. So more pressure for the Bulls to put themselves under as O'Brien will find touch on this main stand side. And here we go, Craig. This final 14 minutes going to be interesting. The intensity perhaps upped a little bit. Toronto know what they're currently playing against as Jake Emmett's brought down 10 metres away from that Bradford try line. It's the Transatlantic Challenge on Bulls Live at Proper Sport. It's going to go towards Mellor. Mellor tries to pirouette his way, drops the shoulder, and sharp as a knife, the Bulls' defence blunts his approach. Acker's out of dummy half. It's going to go back to Macron. Macron to O'Brien. O'Brien puts the fend in. O'Brien, the shirt grab there from Evan Hodson stops O'Brien from going in. It goes back to Macron. Across the face of the post to Mellor. Mellor's going to give ball in hand to Olbison. And the former Bradford man's going to be wrapped up in a 3-man tackle. Solid defence here from the young Bulls. Acker's back it goes. Macron looking for options out wide on that right-hand edge, and the Toronto Wolfpack will have try number 7 of the afternoon, and it's a second for Blake Wallace. 36 points to 12 here at Odsal.
As again, Mick, every time they get field position, they're really dangerous. They just shifted. You haven't seen how many times they shifted the play. They went left, right, left. Then they finished with 3 on a 2 on a right. Again, these young Bradford lads will all be learning stuff today. So let's make sure we let that known. They'll be learning big lessons of what it's going to be taken to win this league. And these are top players they're playing against, Mick. Rowan Mills there, I looked at the last attacking set there. And this is Rowan's one of my lads, and this is a message to him. Rowan, you've got to go up the line more. It's no good sitting back in the pocket. You're not playing as a quarterback. The best players, the best halfbacks in the country and in the world go at the line. Jonathan Thilston, who was one of the legends of this game, he used to get tackled 14 times a game, Mick, because he would win at the line. Rowan's playing in the pocket a little bit, and it's what we call the armchair, trying to get the kick in. If you watch Joe Mellor here, every time Joe Mellor gets it close to line, Mick, he's going at the line. He's making the defenders make a choice. What that does, Mick, it sucks numbers in for what happened on the right edge. Mellor taking the line on the left allowed the numbers to come over to the left. It left us Bradford short on their left edge. Try, it's easy. But if you know your rugby, you're getting used to it. That little play there on the 5 plays there, Mick, it was set up on the first play. Mellor numbers, get at that. Rowan Mills, look at Mellor, get at that line.
Bulls Live, proper sport here at Odsal Stadium, brought to you by Show Me The Money UK and partners. Bradford Bulls 12, Toronto Wolfpack 36. So Gareth O'Brien remains 4 successful attempts from 7. And the Wolfpack have a lead of 24, which if the scoreboard stays like this is Andrew Chalmers' prediction. He said, based on salary cap spend, Toronto would have a 24-point start. So Andrew Chalmers may be on the money this afternoon.
So make sure you leave that one. Don't just trying to get in with your chairman because he's paying your wages.
Angie Taylor-Perry says, what a player Fogging Johnson has been this afternoon. Richard Griffin says, why stop other teams coming in? Let's expand the game. Let's all be positive. And Llewayne Lowe watching from Parkwich, Queensland. Go the Pack. So the Toronto Wolfpack, Craig, we go back to the expansion theme. We've got Toronto Wolfpack fans in Australia, in Queensland, which I believe is late evening there now, or the early hours of tomorrow. They're watching this game, and referee Jack Smith on the last tackle will penalise Sam Hallis, who's come back out there for the final 10 minutes. He's going to say that he didn't retreat the 10, and the penalty count is 6 penalties apiece.
That's a shocking call, that. I know Ackers has been clever just throwing the ball at Sam on the last play, but come on, that's crazy play. That's crazy. The referees can't allow that. That were intentional of Andy to follow the marker who was offside and just throw the ball at him, so it's crazy. But again, I think they'll score again here, Mick. Every time they've gone in field position, they don't panic. And watch how they shift it here. They'll go one side to the next. All the numbers are left here, so it's obvious which side they're attacking, but sometimes they're doing it with patience. Here they're going to play on the next one.
Macron, Mellor, Albison. Albison's going to be brought down 5 metres away from the Bradford line as the heavens open here at Odsal. It won't be a pre-season fixture at Odsal without the rain and the heavens opening as Mellor looks to give it to Emmett. Emmett's going to be brought down just outside the 10. Ackers, great awareness, drives towards the line, but that is good suffocating defence there from the young Bradford Bulls side. Stevenson putting his body on the line and will go back to the 10-metre line and also take a bow there from Jake Lightower, who's out there on the field. It's going to go towards Dixon. Dixon, loose carry, picked up by Macron, back to O'Brien. It's on the last tackle. The kick through comes in, and that is a repeat set of 6 because it's been forced by Blake Wallace, and he will trap Kobe Greendead in goal. And here we go, Craig. It's another repeat set.
Again, just patience in attack. But every single player know what they're doing there. They were making runs, they were stacking up. They're all in cohesion, whereas Bradford attack very square, very flat. There's not much happening, Mick. There's not many lead runners. There's not a lot happening. But you watch the way they do it here. This is a set. They won't panic. They'll get the first carry in. And then Gaz O'Brien and the halfbacks will start to look at where the numbers are. So at the moment, they're going to take another one. Here you go. Andy saw the gap. It didn't matter. Again, Lay's defence. Every time he saw a Lay's defender, bingo, Mick. I said they'd score.
We're going to start calling you Tony Romo, Craig. He was calling all the plays before they happened the other evening in the NFL playoffs, and you've just called that. And Andy Ackers, he's got his second try, and once again, a carbon copy of the first, straight down the throat and heart of this Bradford Bulls defence. And as the rain turns to sleet and hail, the Wolfpack have an 8th try. So they're going to take a lot of positives from their pre-season this afternoon. Last week, a narrow 24-14 defeat against Hulkiston Rovers and Tim Sheens. It was 8-8 at half-time here at Odsal Stadium. A huge marker for the hot promotion favourites. So, with Gareth O'Brien off the field, Blake Wallace will attempt the conversion attempt in front. This to add on an extra 2. And on the Bulls Live and Proper Sport and Show Me the Money UK and Partners scoreboard this afternoon, it says Bradford Bulls 12, Toronto Wolfpack 42.
Listen, as I say, Mick, one thing, I think every single person in the championship, every coach will be getting the footage of this game and the Ulkiara game and looking at where Toronto are. And let me tell you, we've watched this live today and they're in a good place. They're the worthy favourites. In fact, they've probably gone even more favourites after this, Mick. And again, let's not take away, I know John, I can see now his body language is good. He knows this is just the trial match. He's give a lot of people a game. He's give a lot of young lads a chance to play. That's the difference. Toronto have got their first team out here, so this is no calling negatives on Bradford. But again, if I'm a young man and I want to make an impression, Mick, I want to do it against the best. And I wonder how many of them have actually made that impression today.
Well, John Davis asked a question of myself. Is this a bit of a rude awakening for the Bradford Bulls? And I've just got to say no. Craig's shaking his head, agreeing with me. The average age of the Bradford Bulls out there currently, and have been out there in the second half, is a little over 21 years of age. So it literally is Toronto against the Bradford Bulls Academy and Reserve side. And that is a great kick once again out of dummy half. And that will force the Bulls into their 4th goal line dropout of the afternoon, Craig. And I tell you something, James Ford's in attendance, and you're quite rightly correct. Richard Marshall, Matt Diskin, they're all going to be looking at this footage, and they'll be looking for little chinks where they potentially can catch Toronto out. But I tell you something, pretty perfect performance apart from a few errors early in the count.
Listen, I say they've got some outstanding individuals. John Wilkin, Gaz O'Brien. I'm looking at the 4 or 5 lads who are walking up here. Ryan Braley, who's the winger from Leo scores the tries for Toronto, is not playing today. He's injured. I think he's on that record.
Johnny Pownall.
No, do the one, mate, with a ponytail. Oh, God. Anyway, move on. But there's 4 or 5 here. I've realised they've got a real strong squad. Brian Noble told me they're in again here. Short side play. Andy Ackers again. The most outstanding player on the pitch by a million miles. With Gaz O'Brien, they look head and shoulders above anything. Every time he's seen a lazy defender, he's took it, and that's the old short side play. He's through the dummy, and it's fantastic. As again, what a game by Andy Ackers. What a game.
Andy Ackers finding Andrew Dixon on that right-hand edge, piercing the Bradford Bulls defence, and it's now a 9th try for the Toronto Wolfpack. 46 points to 12 here at Odsal Stadium. We've got 4 minutes remaining, and the winger was Mr. K.
Oh, my God. Sorry. I should have got that. My mind went blank. I was too busy watching the play. So, yeah, just looking down, they're getting soaked here. But, wow, there's 4 or 5 of them down there who will all be looking to play next week. So, real strong squad, real strong. Again, Bradford now, I think they'll probably get maybe another try as well before we finish. But they don't look too disappointed. The fans are not too disappointed. John Keir and the staff are not too disappointed. Personally, I just think that if you get your chance in a game like this a week before the start of the season, Mick, I don't know how many of them actually took it. I don't know how many of them have said to John Keir, I'm in that shirt next week. And that's not just the youngsters, Mick, that's a lot of the older ones. I don't think for Bradford, Defogging Johnson, if I'm speaking straight as I see it, can't see any more than 1 or 2 who's actually gone and put a marker down. James Green were very good. But if we speak honestly, Mick, I don't know how many of these young lads and the older ones have took the chance. John Keir's got a big job picking his team next week.
Well, we'll get the thoughts of John Keir at full time. Ali Shearer Hall says, Great effort from the under-19s, well done, and the Howling Hour agrees. A cracking effort from the homegrown lads at Bradford in this second half. Bulls Live, proper sport, Bradford 12, Toronto 48, 3 minutes remaining on the clock here at Odsal. Job well done here for the Toronto Wolfpack, and certainly we're going quite globally this afternoon. The Adelaide Rams, remember that name from the Super League war era in the mid to late 90s. The Adelaide Rams joining us this afternoon.
If anybody wants to know, Mick, what in Toronto listening, what youngsters means and what it means to be Jerome, John Bastian, who's a legend in our game and has brought a lot of these with his staff, with Beattie and with Dunning. But John Bastian also were at Warrington as director of rugby. Do you know two of his youngsters, Mick, who I had when I first watched John there, Gaz O'Brien and Andy Ackers. 17-year-old products of John's academy at Warrington, both young men he told me to watch. So you can see it all over the field, not just on the Bradford.
Last tackle for Toronto. Once again, the architect, Andy Ackers, kicking into the Bulls in goal area. And the Bulls, well, they'll certainly take a lot of experience into the under-19s academy season. Elliot Cullen carries the ball up to his own 10-metre line. And just to reiterate, the Bradford Championship, it starts in earnest next Sunday.
Easy for you to say that, mate.
I was watching the wind.
Can't get his S's.
So Bradford Championship next Sunday, and as we said, Toronto, they will be at Bootham Crescent as Bradford have gone without the ball. Sidlow back to Dixon. Dixon's going to be wrapped up on the zero tackle. Is there potentially a 10th try from the Wolfpack this afternoon as they go down the middle with Albison? Albison joining Joe Mellor from Widnes in the close season, looking to make an impact. It goes to Mellor. Mellor back, looking for the offload to Springer. Springer back on the run around. Danger averted. Great tackle there. Elliot Cullen and Rickett as it goes on this left-hand edge with Albison. He goes down towards the line. We've got 40 seconds remaining. The young Bulls hanging on. They don't want to see their line breached for a 10th time. That'd see the Toronto Wolfpack bring up the 50.
Right.
Springer wrapped up. Ackers goes on that right-hand edge. A loose pass. Knocked back on that right-hand edge. Referee Jack Smith says last tackle and potentially the final play of the game. 20 seconds remaining. It'll be Stanley out of dummy half. Distrills it into touch. And I think that will be all she wrote. So thank you for everybody joining us on Bulls Live Proper Sport this afternoon. It's been a pleasure to bring you this transatlantic challenge from a chilly, windswept Odsal Stadium. But Toronto Wolfpack, as we said, hot promotion favourites. They've arrived at Odsal and they will take the transatlantic challenge for the second successive season. 34-0 last season, 48 points to 12 in 2019. Craig, Toronto, wow, unstoppable.
I think the word we're going to look for is ruthless. Anything that got lazy within the defence of Bradford got punished. I actually think they pulled off the tilt, Mick. It could have been a lot more. Again, Bradford won't be too override. John Keir I'm looking at it again, the body language. Andrew Chalmers, John Keir, the staff, they're just all patting each other on the back saying, look, that's it, we start for next week now. I think there were no injuries apart from Ethan Ryan. Let's hope Ethan's all right because he looked absolutely dangerous. He was the one weapon Bradford had.